The First Amendment is about freedom of religion and how we are free to believe anything we desire. But the rights of Muslim citizens have been violated and still being violated by other American citizens. For example, by pulling off Muslim girls' hijab just because they are openly expressing their religion. The common misconceptions held by Islamophobic people are the following. Islam is tied to terrorism, Islam promotes violence. None of these conceptions are true by any means, but are still commonly held by many people suffering from Islamophobia. While these unfortunate misconceptions have been held for centuries, Islamophobia has been on the rise in the recent times. Since the September 11 attack in the USA, many uninformed Americans have started viewing followers of the Islamic faith as an enemy of the United States. This sentiment is absolutely untrue. There is no link between Islam and terrorism, and
Greetings of peace to whoever might be watching. My name is Ilyas Ali. I am the Dawah coordinator / teacher at Tawfiq Islamic Center in South Minneapolis.
Thank you. To help Muslim people.
So I have a number of different hats that I wear here at Tawfiq Islamic Center, but I'm namely responsible for three things. One is for all Islamic education for the Muslim community in English of Tawfiq Islamic Center. So that may include youth, that may include new Muslims or revert Muslims, and also for just in general audiences who speak English at the masjid, and then also youth activities that include, and then lastly is kind of like spiritual guidance. So that would include like counseling, advice, mentorship, etc. So what motivated me to start this job? So it's kind of been a long time coming. I attended an Islamic seminary school in Medina, Saudi Arabia, the Islamic University of Medina, and I did 2.5 years in a language program, and then college Islamic education and Islamic history. That's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy giving back, helping the people, listening to people, and more particularly helping them in a meaningful and impactful way. As far as how does Islamophobia start? Kind of came into the spotlight, and then that would have been probably after September 11th, 2001. I remember at that time. Before that, you barely ever heard of Islam, except for maybe like in a movie or something where, it's some, foreign country, wanted to blow something up and he's the bad guy in the movie or something. But after September 11th, and that terrible tragedy, pretty much Islam, Muslims was constantly from then on like in the spotlight, like Geller, and these are people like I never heard of before, and they were all of a sudden like quote unquote experts on Islam, and they just would nonstop like speak vitriol about Islam and Muslims, and just really actively try to have a campaign of like misinformation about what Islam actually is, and to come out of nowhere, who are all of a sudden experts. But they were all like, none of them have credentials in terms of having formally studied Islam, whether it be in an Islamic institution or even in a non. Like, they were looking for a better life, right? That's why they come over here. That's why we come over here. That's why my parents came here, right? And so they were looking at America to be this like welcoming place. It's a melting pot where we can, find economic prosperity, religious freedom, and so on and so forth. But then all of a sudden, it becomes like the opposite. Like, nope, you're not welcome here. You don't belong here.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation report released in November states that the number of attacks on masjids and other hate crimes against Muslims in 2015 was higher than any other time except the immediate aftermath of 9/11. Upon becoming the president, Donald Trump banned 7 Muslim countries from immigrating to the USA, which are Iraq, Iran, Sudan, Syria, Somalia, and Yemen.
You don't have a place here, ascribing to this religion, right? And then all of a sudden, so now people feel unsafe, people feel unwelcome, people feel, and they become marginalized, which, like in the group that I work with, like young people and youth, that in and of itself can become like dangerous, can go off into like negative directions because they're being pushed out. It creates this like sense of constantly like us versus them. Their hostility towards Muslims and the Islamophobia. So people getting fired from jobs, kids getting bullied in school, right, because of their faith, and so on, which is ironic because one of the main reasons America was founded, why, people left Europe and came here, was because of religious freedom, right? And so it's, ironic that, that is kind of like coming full circle now, and then it's being perpetrated against people who want to become a part of, America from people who are Americans. It makes people less likely to integrate, right, and be a part of like the American fabric and to be a part of the community. So neighbors won't want to try to get to know their neighbors if they're not Muslim, because they might not like me, or they might not, because I'm Muslim, they might think I'm a terrorist, or they might be unfriendly to me or my children. And like I said, integrate, not assimilate, right? Because we don't have to be carbon copies. Again, that's part of what makes America, wonderful, is that, everybody has their unique contribution to what is America. But it affects people's business, it affects people's education and their schooling, and people's sense of community. People won't feel like they're actually a part of a community, like in a neighborhood, a workplace, like, yeah, we work together, but I'm not really, a part of it. I just come, get my little welcome, and I don't feel like a part of things. So it really tears at the fabric of, this word like community, the idea of community. I feel about helping Muslim people. Well, I mean, alhamdulillah, it's a part of, our faith is to help, people in general, and not per se Muslim people, like exclusively. So, I mean, as far as helping Muslims, I feel like it's my, my religious duty, my moral duty, to do so. But that's command in Islam, like to help all people. One of the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they love for people what they love for themselves. And so, whatever I love for myself, I want for other Muslims, and I also want for, other people, right?
Here are a few things that could be done to stop Islamophobia and support Muslims. By supporting Motion 103, a private member's bill calling on the federal government to study methods to reduce Islamophobia and other results of systematic racism. Don't discriminate against Muslims because they are no different than any other people of different religions. It's not okay to blame 1.8 billion Muslims because of the actions of one group. Say no to Islamophobia by donating to Khair Minnesota. Khair Minnesota is the state's leading Muslim civil rights and legal advocacy organization.